Boom! Welcome. We are live on both channels here. Live Ready to Roll on our YouTube channel, Live Ready to Roll on Facebook. Today's going to be a little different format than what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. On Wednesdays, middle of the week, we've been doing a little movement and mobility, focusing on that recovery session kind of in the middle of the week. We're going to continue with the mobility segment. We're going to keep that going, but we're going to add in a second half of this class. We're going to add a little course-specific time. So it's going to be, first half of the class is going to be mobility-based. We're going to be moving, stretching, kind of like that Wednesday. We're probably not going to do as much because we're going to shift to the second half, and we're going to give you a little core segment going on there at the second half. So we hope you class, you can just get a little great core block right there in the middle to get things going. So hope you enjoy this class, a little new format. As always, send us your comments, send us your feedback. We're here to make this the best possible scenario we can for you guys. So we're happy that you're joining us, and we're glad to get things going this morning. So with it being a mobility class, we're going to start off with some mobility. We're going to hit everything from our hips, hamstrings, glutes, upper back, just like we do on that big mobility class on a regular Wednesday. But instead, we're going to kind of, speed it up a little bit in terms of how fast we get through everything and give us some time for that core at the end. So let's start off by going after the hip flexors. We don't need to do a big movement prep because this whole first segment's about mobility. But we're going to start off with a right foot forward, left leg back, put that knee down, stretch it out a little bit. Let's go after a little hip flexor stretch. So we're going to do 4 of everything. So we're just going to rock in, stretch that hip flexor, rock back out and reset. Let's get 4 on each leg. Here comes number 3. And then the last one, number 4. Keep your body tight. If you want to get a little extra stretch before you rock in, see if you can engage this glute. See if you can kind of tighten up that glute muscle and then rock in. That's going to help keep your pelvis stable so that your pelvis doesn't rotate, but you're getting that stretch through that hip flexor. Let's switch it around. Left leg forward, right leg back. Staying nice and tall. Engage that glute if you want to, and then rock in a little bit. Get that stretch through that hip flexor. You're going to feel it all the way down that quad, all the way through that front of that front hip side, which is exactly what we're looking for. From there, pop it on up. Let's get moving here a little bit. We're going to do a little back lunge, and we're going to take it with a high reach. So now we're still doing the same thing. We're still lengthening that hip flexor, but now we're moving a little bit with it. 4 on each leg. And the same thing, as you reach back, if you want to fire and engage that glute, it's going to help stabilize your pelvis and let you get that stretch through that hip flexor a little bit better than just doing that back lunge. Other side here, back step, fire that glute, reach up tall, stretch that hip flexor. 4 on each side here. Here's number 3, and then number 4. So we stretched it a little bit, we engaged it with a little bit of movement. Let's go back down to the ground and let's get that stretch through. We're going to add in a little different component now. So we've got that right leg forward, left leg back. Let's add in a hand reach. So we just did regular rocks. Let's take that same side hand and we're going to rock in and reach over the top so that we're really lengthening not only that hip flexor, but everything through that core and even getting up through my rib cage and my upper back. If you look at it, you can see Coach Megan from straight ahead. If you look at me from the side, you notice I'm still staying upright. I'm just leaning overhead as I rock that hip in to get the hip flexor stretch. The reach is going to add a little extra component in there to really open up that hip flexor. So there's 4. We'll pop on up and get moving. So let's do that same thing. Instead of just reaching high, as we back lunge, let's reach over the top. So I'm going to start on my left leg, back lunge, reach up over the top, lengthen everything, back lunge, reach over the top, back lunge. Here's number 3. Let's go one more, back lunge, number 4. Other side now, back lunge, reach over the top. There's number 2, 3, and then here's number 4. So we got 4 on those. let's take it down to the ground and let's finish up with that last half kneeling series here. Same starting position we've been in, same idea of rocking forward to get that hip flexor, engaging that glute. We did regulars, we did reach over the top. Let's do rotate now. So let's rotate across that front leg, rotate that core as we rock in. Now give them a big stretch down through that hip. There's number 3. And the last one, number 4. We'll switch sides here. Make sure that when you get this leg, start a little bit ahead. So when you rock forward, your knee is over your ankle at the finishing position. If you start too tight when you rock forward, that knee's going to go way out in front of that toe. And that's what we don't want. It's putting an extra stress on that knee joint. Here's number 4. And if you're smart enough to follow along and know the routine, we're going to take a back lunge with that left leg, and I'm going to rotate across my front knee. So back lunge, rotate 1. Back lunge, rotate 2. Again, getting that good lengthening all the way up through that front line. I'm also getting my core warmed up here because we got the second half of class where we're going to add that core in there. So good little hip flexor series here. Get it stretched out, get us moving a little bit, and get everything ready to go through the front side. The core muscles, remember, they start at the pelvis, they go up to the rib cage and the spine. So getting those hip flexors opened up is going to help with this core segment. All those reaches are going to help warm up our core and get everything loosened up. So we're not only just getting you feeling better, we're also getting you ready for the second half of class. All right, let's go to the hamstring segment now. So we'll start back on the ground, just like we did on this first one. I'm going to stretch that leg out a little bit further because now instead of rocking forward and going out for the hip flexor, I'm actually going to rock back and try to straighten out this leg to get that hamstring. If you have some tight hamstrings, you may be able to just sit up tall and just that rock back enough. I need to take my hands and reach down to bend forward a little bit to get a little bit stretch in that hip flexor, or in that hamstring. There's number 3, then here comes number 4 for me, reaching down low. Hamstring crosses the knee joint, so as I straighten out my leg, I'm getting a stretch, but the hamstring also crosses that hip joint. So I need to lean forward to get a little extra stretch in it. Just straightening out my leg here isn't getting me a big enough stretch. So I'm looking to stretch it on both ends of the spectrum, get that, straighten out the knee, and lean forward at the hip so I can get a little extra stretch in there. There's 2. Here's 3. And the last one, there's number 4. And just like we did with the hip flexors, let's pop on up and let's take a little movement series. So now we're going to take that back step, reach down, and stretch it. Same idea. I'm keeping the leg straight, so I'm really not getting much of a stretch from that end. It's all about from the hip now and be able to kind of put on the brakes as I reach down low and stretch it from the top. So this adds a little bit of extra movement. Remember, we like that back step because if I take that back step, it's already pushing my hips backwards and teaching me how to lengthen at that hip joint and not necessarily want to squat down. If I take a step forward, my tendency might be to bend my knee. Here, it's teaching me let your hips go backwards and get that stretch in at that hamstring through the hip joint. All right, there's our first segment of the hamstring stretch. Let's take it down to the ground and let's add a component by changing up our hand position. So just like we did on the hip flexors, we're going to do some different stuff with our hands with a hamstring. So for this one, I'm going to face you because you already know what it looks like from the side. You know we're rocking back and reaching. And I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to try to reach them to the outside of my right leg. So I'm going to start with my hands already kind of rotated over that knee, rock back. Again, if you're pretty tight and you don't need to reach down, just rotate your upper body without reaching those hands. Each time you rock that hamstring back, reaching to the outside, going to give me a whole different stretch. If you find that your foot kind of wants to flop open with each one of these, let that foot rotate. Get something different through that hip, that hamstring. It's all about you finding how you can stretch and get a great movement through here. Your body's different than my body, different than anybody else. So we want you to listen to that body and find the stretch pattern that works best for you with some different hand reaches. And if your foot wants to move and pivot a little bit, you can get some great different stretches out of that. Let's pop it on up and let's do the same thing. So when we take that back step, instead of just reaching straight down, I'm going to reach toward the outside of my foot. Reach outside, come up with it, step back so those hips go back, reach those hands down to the outside. Here's number 3. And then the last one, number 4. Switch sides here and face you for this one. Back step, reach to the outside. Back step, reach to the outside. 2. There's number 3. And then let's get number 4. Great job. We're on to our last round for the hamstring series. We've done hand position front, hand position rotated out. You guessed it, we're going to go hand position on the inside. So we're doing that same rocking back. Now I'm just going to take my hands and try to put them more on the inside as I rock back. So I'm extending back, reaching forward with my hands, getting that hamstring stretch a little different. I just changed up my hand position. Now here's number 4. And then we'll switch sides. And this one I'll kind of show you from a side angle. So you can see me straighten out that front leg. Reach my hands toward the inside. Straighten out that front leg. And then last, number 3 here. And then here's the last one. Straighten out that front leg. And then come on up with it. And come on up. And then let's take the same series with a back step, reaching those hands to the inside. Coming up with it, take that back step so the hips go backwards, automatically pushing us back at that hip joint. Notice it's not a big lunge. It's just a little back step, allowing me to straighten back down. Now the other leg, back step, reach inside. Back step, reach inside. Here's number 3. And then we got one more for number 4. All right, we've hit the hip flexors. We've hit that posterior chain a little bit with the hamstrings. Let's go up through the T-spine. And let's start kind of working up through our core a little bit more, getting that upper back ready, and getting ready for that core segment that's coming right up. No, we're going to start off, just like all the other ones, on the ground. Let's start off with our quad reaches. So in that quad-based position, this first series, we're going to do single arm reaches because maybe we're not opened up yet enough. We go double arm reaches. Sometimes we're still tight and we tend to not be able to get as good a range of motion. So we're going to do single arm reaches. We're going to do 4 long reaches with that right arm as you sit your hips back. Make sure you're driving those hips back and glide that hand forward to get that big stretch. So here's 3. And then here comes number 4. Think about taking that forehead, seeing if you can rock all the way down and almost touch the ground. Encourage me to get that long reach. I take the other arm and I draw it back towards my knee. So as I rock back, I reach with my left and I pull my right arm back. And that really lets me emphasize that I'm reaching as I'm rocking back. So I'm rocking back with my hips and reaching long. Here's number 3, and then here's the last one, number 4. From here, we're going to stand on up, just like we did with our other stretches. But we're going to do a little reach pattern. And this reach pattern is kind of cool because not only as I start to reach, I'm going to be moving through the T-spine and then upper back. But because everything's connected and because I'm up on my feet, my hips are going to want to move as well. And I want them to move. I'm not trying to stay still and stationary down here as I just move my upper body. So each one of these reaches, let those hips pivot, let those hips move. They're all connected through the core. We're going to work on that here in a second. So we want to start to get all that connected up. So let's just go with long reaches and high reaches. So the first series is reaching long, 4 of those on each arm. So that's 2, rotate, reach long, 3, and then 4. And then the opposite of that, we're going to go straight up high. So reach up high. If you get a little bit of a reach back and start to lengthen through that core, that's fine, but you notice my hips are going with me. Every time I come back down, they bend my hips a little bit, and then every time I reach, I'm extending and let those hips move with me. So we got some forward reaches and some backwards reaches to really start to open up that T-spine. Back down to the ground position. We're now going to take that hand, and instead of just reaching long with it, I want you to think about trying to reach long and reach across your midline. So if I'm in my quad base position, as I rock back, I'm going to rock back and reach up and across the top of my head. So I'm going to show you from a straight ahead position what it looks like. I rock back and I reach up and across. You can see how my hand is reaching up and across. Instead of just reaching out, I'm reaching up and across. Big stretch through these lats and ribs. Reaching up and across. And then reach up and across for number 4. Other side now. Up and across 1. Up and across 2. Up and across 3. And here's the last one. Up and across 4. So that's a great little rock series. We get that up and across reach. So what do you think we're going to do with our reach pattern here with our hands? Same thing. Get your feet set. Each one of these reaches, let those hips pivot a little bit. As I reach over the top, my hips want to go this way. That's great. I'm going to get a great stretch through here, and I'm going to get my core activated. So over the top, 4 each way. There's 1, 1, 2, 2. Open up those ribs. Reach long. 3, 3. And then here's 4, 4. And then my favorite ones, these are a little funky, but let's reach long. Same thing. As I reach out there, let my hips go the opposite direction. Extend, reach. Here's 2, 2, 3, 3. And then last one's 4 and 4. Hopefully I'm still in our Facebook screen there. I started moving around a little bit. We'll get back centered here. Last series on the ground. We've done long reaches. We've done lean reaches. We're going to get those rotate reaches. But these have a 2-part rotate reach. We're going to rotate under, and let's get that rotate up to reach 1. So I start that quad base position. I reach under, rotate, and then when I come up, I'm going to reach and rotate at the top. So quad base position again. Rock back, reach under, rock up, reach up. 4 on each side. Reach under, get that good rotation. Reach up, open everything up. Here's number 3. And then reach up, and then here's number 4. And then reach up. Let's switch it up now, get that other side. Rock under, rock up, rock under. Rock up with 2. Rock under. Rock up 3. Rock under. Rock up. And there's number 4. And so we'll pop it on up from the ground. And we're going to continue that same series. So if we rotated on the ground, let's rotate here up top. Let's get 4 reach across, and then we'll go reach back. You can reach at chest high. I'm going to actually kind of keep mine a little bit higher, because as I take that reach a little bit higher, it's going to get my core a little bit more warmed up. That's going to make my shoulders and upper back move a little bit. So I'm going to reach kind of up and across, and my hips are following me. They're rotating with me. My pelvis is moving. I'm getting there. I'm not trying to keep my lower body still. I'm letting it move naturally as I start to do these reaches. And then I'm going to do the opposite reach. So I'm going to reach up and behind and let my hips go with me. I'm getting all this core engaged. I'm getting all these hips engaged. There's 2 and 2. Reach 3. Open up. Reach 3. Last one's reach 4. And last one, reach 4. So that is going to be our quick hitting mobility series. We got those hip flexors. We got those hamstrings. We got that upper back. That's a great little series to start off the day, to get everything kind of opened up. Hopefully your posture feels better. Your hips feel looser. You feel taller. pulled those shoulders back. We've really gotten through our great posture series so that we're overcoming that sitting position that we're always in, that slouched over position. We're pulling everything back and getting everything rocking and rolling. So that's the mobility series. It's time to shift gears now and jump into the core series. So we talked about doing core for the second half of class. But this one, we're going to use the timer. And you guys are going to need to follow along with the timer because we're going to be doing everything on the time. 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. You got the coaches got the timer set up there. So we're going to start off, we're going to do 3 different types of movements here. We're going to do a stability movement where we're just going to be holding some different positions for the 30 seconds. And then we're going to do a little ground-based movement. And then we're going to stand up. We're going to do a little upright movement, a little vertical core. So we've got 3 different types of core that we're going to hit with each one of these. If you've got any kind of extra equipment, if you've got a light dumbbell or a little medicine ball or even a light kettlebell, there's some opportunities for you guys to add those in today. If you don't have anything, our body weight and us moving is going to be a great challenge for that. So we're going to start off pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We're going to go down to the ground and we're just going to do a base plank for 30 seconds. So that's just elbows and toes, body staying nice and flat. We're just going to hold that plank. That's going to be our beginning stability series, starting it off for 30 seconds. So if you're ready to roll, we'll get the clock ready. We'll start off this base plank coming up here in 10 seconds. So it's elbows and toes, keeping everything nice and tight. 30-second plank. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Just holding that plank, guys. We'll add some elements to this as we go along. But for the first round, let's just keep everything nice and tight. Try to keep that perfect posture. Butt shouldn't be up in the air. Back shouldn't be rounded. This should look no different. If you took me and stood me upright, this would be the same posture. So I've got my shoulders flat, my core in tight, straight line from my ankles, hips to my shoulders, and we're just holding this plank for 30 seconds. All right, from there, we're already down on the ground. Let's continue on with some ground-based stuff. Roll over onto your back, and we're going to work on those straight arm, straight body sit-ups. So I'm taking my arms and reaching up tall. Let's get in the view here for Facebook. We're just working those nice, tall sit-ups. So we're getting pulled from the chest. We're letting those arms drive us straight up into that sit-up position, trying to keep that torso nice and straight, using those ab muscles to pull us up. Not working a lot of speed on these, but really thinking about getting pulled from the middle of our core up and not rounding up with our shoulders. And that's why those arms help drive us up and give us that pattern there. And then the last ones, let's get upright with it. This is where if you've got something, you're going to get moving. We're going to get in a base stance, and we're just going to work on that chop pattern. So if you've got an implement that you want to use, a dumbbell, a core ball, let's get that guy. Chop, rotate, come back home. Chop, rotate, come back home. This is one where you aren't being dynamic. You're rotating quick. You're getting that core loaded, stretched and bring it back around. Stretched and bring it back around. Reach and rotate. Let those hips pivot. Let everything elongate through that hip flexor that we just worked on opening up. And we're loading that core and we're bringing it back around. That's a fun little series to get us going here. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Let's repeat it again here for round 2. Let's go back into those planks. If you want to add something to your planks, you can start to add some foot lifts or even some arm lifts through that plank. So the foot lift will be here and just picking a foot up. You're still trying to really focus on keeping that posture nice and still. And all we're doing now is we're challenging that core by taking away a little bit of our stability with our feet. Keep that going. Nice, solid core. Almost there, guys. And one more. You got it. Same thing with the sit-ups. If you want to challenge, do some one arms. Instead of driving with both arms, drive with one. You're going to get a little bit of rotation, but you're still trying to get pulled from your midline, not pulling from your shoulders. So reach high and extend. Reach high and extend. You can alternate arms, or you can do this whole segment with just one arm, and then add in the other arm next round. Work that good core, nice and solid. Not working fast, but working more for great abs and core. Reaching and driving up. And then there's our time. And then let's get to those chops again. So if you're with me, Coach Megan, and you don't have anything, pretend like you've got something in your hands. Every time you rotate, let those hips rotate with you. Take those arms back. Feel that big stretch through that front line. Stretch and then bring it home. Stretch and then bring it home. Elongate that core and bring it home. If you've got a dumbbell, reach that dumbbell or a plate or something weighted, a medicine ball. This is a great time to rotate that med ball, bring it back home. Rotate that med ball, bring it back home. So we can start to add in that rotation component to each one. Rotate, bring it home. Rotate, bring it home. All right, let's go to round 3, which is going to be our last round. We're back to those planks. So we did those leg lifts. If you wanted to, you could do a little single arm plank, which is really tough, or you can just do regular planks. So let's go back down. Single arm plank would be with just one arm, trying to keep that core solid. This is one that there's no way I'm doing this for 30 seconds. So I'm going to hold this for about 15 seconds, which is hopefully about 5 seconds more, and then I'm going to switch. And I'm going to hold it on the other side, locking in that core, trying to keep everything level. Big challenge here. This is one of the hardest planks I've done. We're almost there. 5 more seconds, guys. I'm shaking. 2, 1, and we got it. Woo! That was a hard plank for me, doing that single arm. I don't know if you guys are doing it at home, but that's a tough challenge as well. Let's go back to those sit-ups. Again, you can do single arms, alternating, double arms. If you did all one arm last round, do the other arm this round. I'm going to go back to doubles, so I like driving up with both hands and finishing with a good tall posture. There we go. Keep it going. Halfway there. Up, extend. Back down. Up, extend. Almost there. And we got it. And then let's add in that rotation component again. So we did some stability. We did a little movement. Now we're doing a little bit more movement. Hips rotate with my hands. Take those hands and drive them into that big rotation with each one of these. All right, here we go. Rotate, bring it back home. Rotate, bring it back home. Turn those hips. Let everything get loaded up with a big rotation. Drive those hands, bring it back home. Drive those hands, bring it back home. Keep going, guys. Almost there. Keep that rotation. Bring it back home to show that you've got control and you've got stability through that big reach pattern. Bring it back home. All right. Great job there on block 1 of a quick hit core. Let's pause here. Boom, reset and get ready for round number 2. So round number 2 is going to follow the same format. We're going to be on the ground for some stability stuff. We're going to get a little bit of movement while we're there on the ground, and then we're going to stand up and get a little bit more movement. So from stability up to vertical core, kind of working all different aspects of that core. We're going to go back down the ground and we're going to do a plank, but this time we're changing up and we're going to do side plank. So we're going to do 15 seconds on one side and then quickly adjust and do 15 seconds on the other side, working on that core stability. But now instead of it working that front stabilization, we've got to challenge that lateral stabilization. So we're ready for round 2, which is going to be our ground-based stability side lateral plank. 15 seconds on one side, 15 seconds on the other. We're starting it up in 10 seconds. So got my elbow right up underneath my shoulder. Feet are stacked on top of each other. 3, 2, 1. Pop that hip up and hold it. And we're just holding that plank for 15. If you want to do it for the whole 30, that's fine. Next round, you'll have to do the other side. And we're only doing 3 rounds. We want to even it out. All right, you ready? That's halfway. Switch it around real quick. Here we go. Coach Megan's going to hold hers for the whole 15 or for the whole 30. I'm probably out of the screen here on Facebook. We'll shift back over. How about that? Quick shift. And 3, 2, 1. Got it. From here, we're already on the ground. Let's do those little V-up patterns. So we did our straight arm sit-ups. Now let's get that V-up where we're bringing up the legs and the upper body at the same time. Let's go 2 arms, alternating legs on the field. So right and then left. Take your time, pull up from that chest, raise that chest up, raise that chest up, bring those legs up, try to get toward that toe. We're working a little bit of the bottom abs, top abs, get that whole core working here. Almost there, keep going, nice job. Pop it on up. We did rotations on that last segment. Let's get a little over the top. We're going to add a step pattern in. So I'm going to step with my left and reach big over the top, bring it back home. That step's going to move my pelvis. Arm reach is going to really lengthen up that core. Reach, bring it back home. Reach, bring it back home. Reach, bring it back home. If you have a weight, a dumbbell, this is definitely one you can add a little weight into. Although you're probably not going to be able to get as far range of motion as we can get without the weight. But our hips are moving, we're reaching, and then a little reach from the top, movement from the bottom. Our core is getting linked in through the middle. We're back down to those planks. So Coach Megan's got to do her other side. I'm going to start off on my right side. That way I can quickly switch to my left side. We ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. Holding that plank, straight line. Good lateral stabilization here. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Switch sides real quick for me. Hop over that other side. Lock it up. Fastest switch in the West. And get that other core. Good lateral line here. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. And there's our time. Back to those V-ups. This time I'm going to do alternating. So I'm going to do right hand, left foot, and that way I can get a little rotation on each one of these sit-ups. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Alternating V-up. But I'm still trying to come up tall with my chest, not rotating my upper body. Coming up tall. Coming up tall. There you go. Keep it moving. Halfway, guys. Come up tall. Good. Come up tall. Almost there. Last one. And we got it. Nice work. Let's add in those steps. We're doing that lateral step and that reach. If you want to, you can step with the left and then reach overhead with the left, or you can step with the left and reach opposite. I'm going to do the same side. So I'm going to do left, left, and I'm going to do right, right. And you notice my hips are shooting out each time. So I'm getting a whole different stretch series going through here. Step, reach, come back home. Step, reach, come back home. Keep it rolling. Get that lateral stability going there. We're almost there. And nice work. All right, let's go back down to the ground for that last series of lateral planks. Working one side. She's done 30 on one side, 30 on the other. So we'll need to switch this last round to even it out. So 15 and 15 starts right now. Holding it up nice and solid. Good lateral stability line. Almost there. Are we ready, coach? And switch. Pivot it around. Fastest switch in the West. I'm out of camera here. I know I am. We'll get back in camera. I'm too long for the camera. 2, 1, and time. And then the last series of those V-ups. You can do alternatings. You could do opposites. I'm going to try same side. I'm going to try right hand, right leg. I'm going to see what that feels like. I don't know if I've ever done these before. Ready? Right leg, right hand. That's a cool little variation. Doing the same side V-up, reaching with that same hand. Little different core work. I can feel my upper abs working a little different with each one of these, but I definitely need to focus on not rounding up, trying to come up tall with that reach. Tall. reach, tall, reach. There we go. Keep it going. Nice series there. And then the last one's on these over the top reaches. We've done step, reach opposite, step, reach the same. It's up to you. Mix up either one of those patterns. As long as you're stepping and moving the lower body and reaching, moving the upper body, we're getting that core engaged. So there's really no wrong pattern. I'm mixing it up and changing it each time to get my core engaged. Stay with us. Keep going. Reach, reach, and then reach, reach. Really getting that core work going. Hi. Nice work, everybody. That is a quick hitting core and mobility session. So hopefully you've had a great series here of doing some good reset mobility. We hit hip flexors, we hit hamstrings, we hit upper back, and then we did 2 quick blocks of some core where we focused on stability, a little bit of ground-based movement, and then some upward movement. Feel free to add in an extra round if you want to. You got the exercises, you know what they look like. Add in any extra sets, reps you want to challenge yourself. We wanted this to be a nice little reset series for you, so it's not as intense or as long as our other sessions. We've got a great, strong workout coming up for you. Remember, we've changed that strong format. So when you join us tomorrow for the strong, it's going to be a little pre-recorded, show you the exercises, give you a chance to then pause the video, work those exercises at your own pace by looking at the slide that tells you the exercises and the reps, and you get to work on your own. But tomorrow, it's not going to be a live for live. It's going to be a little bit of watching the reps and then just joining us as we move along. So we hope to see you back here soon. Join us again for the next great workout, and we hope you had a great morning.